Ahoy toy, welcome to Transfixed, the channel that is the next step in YouTube evolution. Tonight we're going to take a look at this amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Magneto and his horrible, abysmal cape, and what we're going to do about it. So I got this figure here. You can see the cape is not attached. Just to give you a quick rundown of the figure first before we get into business. Here's the box. By the way, on the inside flaps here, there's some little cutouts in case you want to give him some voice balloons, I guess. I am Magneto here, and over on this other side, you have "This is my home." Not sure where that quote comes from. This box is his home. I guess he does live there. I don't know. Here's the back. You can see it has magnetic paperclip holding action features, and some different faces. This is what the helmet looks like. Take note of that because mine's a little bit different, and some text, but I don't read Arabic. So let's get into the figure. Here he is again. And I've already made one fix to this, and that is with the helmet. I did not like how, I guess they're going for kind of exaggerated anime style look to this, so you can see it's flared out quite a lot here. I just took this head apart and heated it up with my good old friend heat gun, just to soften these up, and then molded them. Just squished them in because I liked it to be more of that sort of knight style helmet where it just goes straight up and down, just like that. I think that's better, and it still brackets his face nicely. By the way, this is confused me when I first popped his head off. There's a collar around here. This is actually the back of his helmet. It's to aid the joint. So when you put it on, it just sits behind his face, and that is so that when you tilt his head back, that kind of collapses, and you can have him look up higher, and then that drops back down to keep the trim of his helmet. So that's a nice little touch. Let's get this out of the way. Since I have his face off, I'll just go through that quickly too. He comes with these two different faces, kind of a scrunched up angry face, and a scrunched up teeth-bearing angry face. And it also has movable eyes, which are a bit annoying. It comes with this little tool, so you can stick it in the little hole there and pivot his eyeballs around, which is nice. Especially since you can tilt them all the way up so he just has white eyes if he's looking like he's overloading with power or something like that. But it's just finicky to get the eyes to line back up and look like like he's looking in the right direction with both eyeballs. So it'd be cool if they were tied together, but anyway, it's there. It's the thing. Then he has this helmeted head, of course, and then he has this unhelmeted head. So let's see what he looks like. I'll just put this one in since I don't use this face very much. It just plugs into the top like that. That's pretty good. So put all this to the side. He also comes with two fists, and his regular hands are open like this. You see there's a hole there to plug in these magnet effects, which actually do have a magnet in them, which is cool. Got a little nail here. So yeah, that's pretty neat. I like that. Fucking magnets. How do they work? I'll tell you how they work. Magneto. Fucking Magneto. How does he work? And he comes with a display stand, which is cool. And he also comes with, here's a clip that goes onto the top of the display stand. Focus. And he comes with some extra joints for his arms and elbows or legs. Probably the same thing. These Revoltech joints are kind of made to be universal, I suppose. These are just extras. And here are the instructions that demonstrate how to replace his joints when he's injured, and operate his face. And this is for the stand, and I suppose these are extra holes if you want to move the cape into different positions. I don't know, because I don't read Esperanto. And he comes with the cape. So let me get his head back on here. So the reason I got this guy was because I really wanted a good Magneto for my X-Men display. I'm trying to make a shelf up above me there of the 90s X-Men. I say 90s Fox Kids cartoon, because that's what I grew up with. I didn't get into the comics until later. And later as in like a month ago. So over the years we did get some Magneto figures, but we don't have a lot of options when it comes to Magneto. I mean, he's only their primary adversary, and he's been there since issue number 1 of X-Men. I'm just surprised we don't have more. We got the Toy Biz one a long time ago, and we have a Marvel Select, which I almost got. It's not bad. I don't like the hip joints though. And we have we do have a modern Marvel Legends one, but that was impossible to find. I never saw one in the wild. I don't even know if I could see one online. Just like Storm from that way. The only thing I ever saw was Strife and a couple of the unmasked Wolverines. He was just impossible to get, and it's so scarce that they give us a Magneto figure. I might be overlooking a few. Let me know if I missed one. But even the ones we got are not great in my opinion. So I was excited when this guy came out. It's not quite the style I want. I'm not, the biggest fan of Revoltech, although I do have a few other figures. But he is great for posing. I mean, you can get some really deep articulation in this. But I just don't understand why Hasbro doesn't make more Magneto figures. I mean, look at Star Wars. How many Darth Vader figures are there? There's 2 different Black Series ones on the shelf right now. There's the one that comes with the anniversary display, and then the same figure, I think, with just in a single box, and it wasn't that long ago we got one on a card. There's always Darth Vader able to get, right? There's always, usually you have the villains to go with your heroes, but with Magneto, he just doesn't get a lot of love. And then once we finally got this guy, if I'm honest, I was disappointed when I got him because of the cape. And I knew I wasn't going to like the cape, but I didn't know it was going to be that bad. In fact, here it is. I'll just take it out. I barely even take it out of the bag. There's one side, here's the middle side, and here's the other side. You've probably seen this before, how it has joints in the cape. And these are Revoltech joints, which they use for everything. And it's just pegged into either side, just like a joint, and then it has a pivot. And you got to watch which way you're pivoting. It only goes one way, so you got to rotate it before you bend it. Otherwise, you could be trying to snap it. But the worst part of this is, I mean, I was going to put it on to see how it looked and think about getting a cloth replacement. But here's where we get into the biggest problem. I can't even get it plugged into the back. You can see he's got 5 holes in the back here. I don't know what these are for, unless it's just optional places to put it. But I believe, these are hollowed out for the ball socket. You put them in here, and then in the middle and the back. And I've even tried to use a file and an X-Acto knife to widen this hole and a drill bit, but I cannot get these plugged in. I mean, they'll go in a little bit, but fall out. And if I put any more force, I just end up, bending the joint. I just cannot for the life of me get these to plug in. They're way too tight. I don't know if it's just mine or all of them, but even though I don't even want this cape on there, I can't get it. And then he's got these bits on the shoulders too, which were attached right out of the box. So this is pegged in. It's like a barbell of 2 ball pegs. So this one goes on this side, and then this one over here. When I took them off, obviously they've come off it on different ends, but they're supposed to hang over shoulders and articulate. But it just looks bad. So I've tried to take these off. This is going to come off. And I'm going to take this whole back piece off too, I think. And what I was going to do was get a cloth cape, because I knew that people made them. And I looked online. I saw a review on somebody else's channel where they had this cape. So the point of it is, there was a nice cape that was being sold on eBay by a seller called GP Slot. But they're gone already. I can't get them anymore. So there's 50 sold and 0 available. So GP Slot, you need to make more capes, because I need one. There's a nice purple fabric cape that had a wire running through the outsides for posing. Lovely cape, lovely. It didn't cost too much. Yeah, I was going to get one. I even thought about ordering one before this guy arrived and shipping, but gone. GP Slot has out of Magneto capes. And nobody else seems to be making them. I looked all over for a purple cape, could not find one. Checked Etsy, could not find one. Amazon, nothing even close. So then something struck me. I remembered I have a box of random Build-A-Figure parts. And in there was Odin's cape. In the wrong color, but it looks pretty nice. And I think this would do the trick. I could put this on here, and I think it's going to look fine. If I paint that purple, and I don't know, actually that peg kind of fits roughly into that hole. I'm not sure if I want to get rid of this chunk on the back yet. I was almost thinking about selling this figure until I thought of this cape, because I was just so frustrated with it. But I think this will do nicely. I think that's going to be a good cape. So I'm going to paint it purple, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. By the way, you can sort of fit other heads on this guy. I have this, what's this, an onslaught head or something? Let's take it off. It doesn't fit exactly because the peg and the hole are much different sizes, but you could make it work. The size is roughly the same as the Marvel Legends. Marvel Legends is slightly larger, but you can make that work. Now, this is the cape so far. I sprayed some Testors metallic purple on here. I had a problem with my little Testors airbrush though. It stopped working. I don't know if the paint is too thick or what's going on, but this is what it has so far. I think I'm going to need to get a spray can and just spray this on. See, it's actually peeled off here in this place too. I did prime it, but it's still very tacky. For some reason, it's not adhering very well. But in case I don't finish it, that's what it would look like. I think that's pretty good, actually. Well, if you've ever wanted to see the inside of a Revoltech joint, that's what it looks like. My shoulder fell apart. And here is the virtually final result. I say virtually because of the inside of the cape. So not a perfect match, but I think it's close enough. Now the Testors paint, as I mentioned, it wasn't really working out too well. So I went and got a spray can of the closest I could find. This is purplicious. Okay. That's the only purple that they had, but it did a pretty good job. So this is the inside. I've left this unvarnished because, or uncoated, unprotected, so that you can see what the actual paint looked like. This went on a lot easier than the doing it by airbrush with the Testors, and it's not tacky at all. It dried just perfectly. And then I put on some matte protective coating onto the back because it's a cape. After all, it doesn't need to be overly shiny. And why this cape is metallic in the first place, I don't know. And I think that looks good. So that's the unprotected, and that's the matte finish. So I'm just going to hook it on, kind of plug it into his back there, and I think I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm still undecided whether I'm going to keep this figure or not, so otherwise I would glue it in place at the shoulders. But I think this cape is a pretty good substitute. Let's compare it with the one that's included. This one is more vibrant. But it's this cape. So we don't want that. Now, it bears mentioning that just as I was finishing up the paint on this guy, I looked on eBay, and that seller, what was it, G-Slot? Anyway, they have the capes back in stock. So hopefully, if you're interested in one, they will have one at this time. Right now, it looks like they've made a new batch. So GP Slot, that's what they're called, right? GP Slot. Yeah. So if you want a nice fabric cape with wire in it, GP Slot now has them back in stock at the time of this video. But if you can't find one of those and this looks good enough, you could always get a Marvel Legends Scarlet Witch, which includes this cape of the Allfather. Now, overall, if I were to give this figure sort of a review, he's great if you really want the posability. Like if you're thinking of Magneto from the Marvel vs. Capcom games and you want to get him into some really dynamic poses, he's really good for that. If you just want him to sort of be posed in one pose on a shelf and just look like he's hovering there, like I'm going to do, I kind of wish I had just bought the Marvel Select one, because that's about, it's $30 Canadian, that's probably about $20 US, a lot cheaper, and I just hate the face on that one. It's got a really scrunched up, stupid looking face, but I think I could live with it. Because even this face is not the best. Oh, and the other thing about the Marvel Select is that it's painted this in purple properly, because under, like this is supposed to hold his cape down, I believe. And on this figure it's all red, it should be purple, I believe, like the Marvel Select. Also, the weird thing is, for all the posability that Revoltech has, with all these deep joints and everything, and a little patella knee flap here, the waist is just it's just like a Mattel figure. It's just back and forth. It doesn't have a ball on the hip at all, as far as I can tell. You can sort of rotate this hip joint, but he's always going to be in this bow-legged stance, which kind of bothers me. And so, yeah, all things considered, I would have been better off just buying the Marvel Select version. But it does have a really nice paint finish on it, though. I love the paint. Anyway, I hope you liked that. Hope it was of some use. As always, thanks for watching, and thanks for watching.